We have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man will go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
I know you lying. I know you gotta be lying. I know you gotta be joking.
I've been
Hi.
waiting for this.
I was in line. You weren't in line.
I was in line, yes. I went to the charging station over there and it wasn't working, so I pulled over here and I was waiting. I've been waiting ahead of you.
You moved your feet and you lost your seat, sir.
No,
I didn't know. How was I supposed to know you was
I
in
wasn't
line?
I was sitting right over here.
I wasn't watching you. I was watching the charging pump.
Okay. Well, do you mind if I can use this charger since I was waiting?
I'm gonna use this charger, and then if you hop back in line, hopefully nobody else can skip you.
I was literally just sitting over here.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you, sir.
I feel like that's a lie.
Well, I feel like I'm finna charge. You gotta get away from my car.
I feel like I don't understand why you're being difficult right
I'm
now.
not being difficult. I'm finna charge my car.
I understand that, but I've been waiting here.
I didn't
to
see
charge
you
my
waiting.
car. I was sitting right there.
You gotta
I
take that
pulled
up
out
with
in the
somebody
front.
else. Sorry.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. Okay, so please forgive me for being so late. You guys, you won't believe what I did. Now, I literally sat here like 15 minutes ago, all right, pressed the live button, played the song, played the video that you just saw, and then I'm sitting here talking and doing my greeting, and I'm looking at the chat like, why isn't anybody saying anything? And then I even answered a question from somebody. I think it was Lee McCormick. Last name is McCormick. They were like, what's the delay? And I'm like, sorry, beloved. And then I looked up and I'm like, wait a minute, why isn't anyone answering me? The video wasn't even live. For some reason, I guess I didn't click the button hard enough. So anyway. Sorry, so that's my excuse for the day. But y'all know I'm late all the time anyway. Anyway, so let's get into it. Everyone, please get those likes up. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Remember, it doesn't cost you anything. Sorry for the delay. All right. If y'all going to talk trash, go ahead and do it now. Okay. And so with that all being said, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. And if you don't like what the queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Exit stage left. Okay. Courtney J said, Queen is glistening. Thank you, beloved. All right. So, hello, D. Lovely, Courtney J, Samantha, Sandra, Too Much For You, Jeff ATL, Lady E. All right. Let's get into it, Stacey Quinton. Everyone, please get those likes up. Carl is in here. Okay. Locked Vegan, Southwest Houston, Texas. Wavy, though, in the house. All right. Chris B, all hell no. Okay. So, April, I see you, beloved. All right. So, shout out to all of my loyal royals. So, let's go ahead and get this party started. I'm already late enough. And we have another live starting right after this one at 10 o'clock. There is the link. I just put it in the chat. Hey, Lamont. All right. So, let's get it started, honey, because Kabam is out here telling all kinds of nefarious lies. I want you all to pay attention. Now, how many of you have heard, ones in the chat, if you've heard, that Kabami is now talking about she's going to give us those reparations? I want y'all to pay attention. Now, you know it's all BS. Okay. Like I told you all days ago, she'll say whatever she thinks that people want to hear to get votes. All right. Now she's saying that if the reparations bill comes across her desk, she'll sign it. Funny thing is, she knows darn well the bill's not coming across her desk. Okay. They were just talking about having another study in all of that. Okay. So let's get into it, honey, because I don't have time for her and Al Sharpton out here trying to run game. And here's how you know she's lying. First of all, because her lips are moving, for one, but for two, because we just saw her yesterday. I showed you the video, and I'll show it again for those who missed it, where the young lady asked her about reparations, and she just danced and tiptoed around the question. Now, when Al Sharpton asked her, well, she answers it so quick, fast, and in a hurry. See, that's how you know she's lying. This is all just a publicity stunt, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to pull this up. This is a brief clip someone posted on TikTok. Hold on, beloveds. Here we go. The lies. I mean, absolute cannot.
But in the area of reparations for descendants of Africans enslaved, if you elected president, would you sign that bill if it came across your desk?
When I am elected president, I will sign that bill.
Now, y'all fall for that bullshit if you want to. First of all, what was that damn cackle about? What was that cackle about? Now, you know she's lying. She's sitting there with a big smile on her face. If it comes across my desk, I will absolutely sign that bill. Shut your ace up. Now, you know she's lying, okay? Trying to run game. That's what she's trying to do. Did I delete that video from yesterday? Darn it. I think I already deleted it. But you all remember the video that I showed you on yesterday when she told the young girl, let me see if I can find it real quick. Y'all just be patient for just a second, honey. At the end of the day, it's all lies and BS. All right, we know that by now. Kamala's not going to do a darn thing. Now, while I'm looking for that, let's talk about it because, honey, a reporter asked Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, about Kabami's fake Southern accent. Now, y'all remember I told you that yesterday, too, how at once she was sitting up there on the Breakfast Club with this terrible Jamaican accent. It was clearly fake, but her father's Jamaican, and she can't speak Jamaican. Okay, I'm sorry. She can't speak patois. So anyway, then I played you a clip of her with a fake Southern accent, and then she had a black accent, trying to speak in Ebonics. It was all so contrived. I just want you all to pay attention. So, Karine Jean-Pierre, though she tried to cover for Kabami by skirting around the question, it didn't do a bit of good as far as I'm concerned. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go. I mean, this woman is nothing but a whole pack of lies wrapped up in a cute little bow.
Crowds gathered across the country. Americans have now started claiming their latest benefit. This is a program approved by the administration in 2024. You can check if you qualify for free. People were paying like $259 a month, but now with this benefit.
Hold on, that's not what I'm looking for. Hold on. Hold on, beloveds. Okay, here it is. I pulled up the wrong video. Here we go.
president have what sounds like a Southern accent?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
I mean, this is.
she was talking about unions in Detroit using one tone of voice.
Is this something that
same
you think?
line?
Okay, Peter.
That she used the same line in Pittsburgh, and it sounded like she at least had some kind of a Southern drawl.
I mean, do you hear the question that? I mean, do you think Americans seriously think that this is an important question? They care. You know what they care about? They care about the economy. They care about lowering costs. They care about healthcare. That's what Americans care about.
So
that's what they want to hear.
This is something.
They care about. Your colleague just asked me about what basically we talked about, went back and forth about democracy and freedom. That's what they care about. I'm not even going to entertain some question about the president. It's just hearing it sounds so ridiculous.
Well, but hearing it is
the question. I'm talking about the questions is just insane.
Is that how she talks in meetings?
I'm just Peter. We're moving on. We're still moving around. Go ahead.
Okay, I want you all to pay attention. Now, first of all, she sat there trying to gaslight, talking about, do you think? Hold on, let me go to the Black Klansman. First of all, your name is the Black Klansman. I know you're not trying to come for me. He said, you can tell Queen wants Trump to win and be president. No, sorry, nice try, but no cigar. See, here's the thing with people like you. People like you who are Kamala apologists and defenders, when people like me call her out with facts and truth and receipts, people like you get upset and automatically, with your small little feeble minds, you automatically think that if you don't want Kabami to win, then it must be Trump that you want to win, because we have to stay on one plantation. We have to either be on the Democrat plantation, and yes, I said Democrat, or we have to be on the Republican plantation. That's how you think. But you see, I'm freed from slavery, okay? From the bounds of slavery. I'm not on the plantation, beloved. So I don't have to choose a Democrat or a Republican. That's what I don't have to do. Now, if you had been following this channel, and clearly you have not, you would know that I had Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai on here, okay, who is an independent, and that's who I'm backing, okay? That's who's going to get my vote. Now, we had a very nice interview, and he is for reparations for the descendants of slaves and many other wonderful things, and he's the most qualified as far as the Queen is concerned, okay? So you know what they say about assuming. I mean, if you want to know who I'm voting for, you could simply have asked. But when you draw foolish conclusions of a person that you don't even know, you look stupid, okay? Please pay attention. Now that we got that all straight, and let me know if I need to drop that link, because it's always a pleasure. Okay, now, with that all been said, beloveds, lights up. Everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. So on to the next topic. Now, Trump has lost his little battle with the family of Isaac Hayes. Okay, remember he was playing their song, Hold On, I'm Coming? Well, that's not going to fly, because he's lost that in court. So let's get into it. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Chris B said, people stop coming for the Queen. Honey, don't tell them anything. Let them keep coming, because you know I love it. I got time today, too. Please pay attention.
And he and his family stood up to Donald Trump today, and I'm very proud of him. Very proud of you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We are very grateful and happy for the decision by Judge Thrash. Donald Trump has been barred from ever playing the music of Isaac Hayes again. You know, I couldn't ask for a better decision. I want this to serve as an opportunity for other artists to come forward that don't want their music used by Donald Trump or other political entities, and continue to fight for music, artist rights, and copyright. Any questions?
Your reaction to the judge saying that he would not ask that the videos be taken down?
That's temporary. Once we get to trial and we prove that they do not have a license, today was a preliminary injunction to stop them from using it any further. Now we'll go into an evidentiary process. My co-counsels will start discovery. And he and his family stood up to Donald Trump today, and I'm very.
All right. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what Trump was thinking. He knows darn well he should have gotten permission before he used the song, but he's done this before. Okay. And he knows that he's controversial and many people don't like him and they have very good reason not to. So he should be asking. But see, Trump's a narcissist, as I told you before. And one thing about narcissists is they think that they can just run things. They think they get to do whatever they want, whenever they choose. Okay. And so too bad and so sad for him. Now, with that all been said, let us continue. Because they say the GOP is better off with Kamala Harris in the White House. Okay, so let's talk about it. And so if Republicans want to win, they need Trump to lose big. To dominate the country once more, Republicans need to hasten the move to a post-Trump party. Accepting his party's nomination in 1984, Democrat Walter Mondale vowed to cut the deficit with a memorial line about the tough medicine either he or Ronald Reagan would have to administer to the country, saying that let's tell the truth. Mr. Reagan will raise taxes and so will I. He won't tell you, but I just did. Well, I wish politicians would do that today. Okay, all of you, please stop lying is all I'm saying. Now as Labor Day marks the final stretch of another presidential campaign, it's time for another round of truth-telling. Now, the best possible outcome in November for the future of the Republican Party is for former President Donald Trump to lose and lose soundly. This is what they say. GOP leaders won't tell you that on the record, but I just did. Trump will never concede defeat, no matter how thorough his loss. Yet the more decisively Vice President Kamala Harris wins the popular vote at Electoral College, the less political oxygen he'll have to reprise his 2020 antics. Okay, and importantly, the faster Republicans can begin building a post-Trump party. Now, Harris is a less doctrinaire progressive than she is up for grabs on policy. But any liberal course that she takes would be constrained by a GOP-held Senate. No, that's not a sure thing, but it's the safest electoral bet in this turbulent election, which is virtually certain come January that conservatives will have a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court, which will also serve as a check on the law and rulemaking coming out of a Democratic White House. Harris is effectively an emergency nominee, has few policy proposals, scant governing history in Washington, and a history of churning through staff. Oh, and she would be the first Democrat to enter the presidency since 1884 without majorities in both chambers, should Republicans flip the Senate. Now that adds up to a recipe for gridlock and perhaps some deal making to fund the government and avoid across the board tax hikes, but not a Scandinavian social welfare state. Okay, I'm not going to even read all of this because at the end of the day, well, the GOP might think they're better off if Kabami wins, but I don't think that we would be better off, okay? I think it's going to be more lockdowns, nefarious things popping up out of thin air. Y'all know what kind of things I'm talking about, things that require you to get shots of venom, okay? Yes, that's what I think. And it's funny to me that Kabami and Biden want to talk about freedoms being lost and democracy being taken, when isn't that exactly what they did while they were in office? Aren't they the ones who imposed imposed mandates? People lost their jobs, as I keep telling you. People lost their jobs. Some people had to retire early, okay? All sorts of things happened. At the end of the day, businesses were lost, especially small businesses, specifically mom and pop shops and those of the like. Okay, only people with what they deemed was essential jobs, okay, could stay open. All right, so please pay attention. How are they talking about freedom and our democracy being taken when that's what they did? And they talk about reproductive freedom and abortions. And I want you to pay attention because I've told you that when they talk about reproductive freedom and they promote abortions and all of that, why are they always showing these advertisements with nothing but Black women? Y'all don't find that suspicious? Y'all don't find that suspicious? Y'all don't find that suspicious in my Dr. Umar voice, okay? Because I do. And why, oh, why, lest we forget, did they have abortion trucks outside of the DNC? I mean, if you're going to the DNC rally to hear people talk and give their speeches and all of that and talk about policy, well, why would you be thinking about getting a free abortion outside in a truck? Okay, and vasectomies. This is all sick and demonic. And I'm sorry, but anyone who condones that, no, I don't want you in the White House. That's what I don't want. But also the same person who said that these illegal immigrants aren't criminals. Well, of course they're criminals. They broke federal laws to come over here. What is she talking about? And by the way, since we're talking about illegal immigrants, what in the world happened to the 320 migrant children that miraculously just disappeared off the face of what seems to be the earth? Okay, under her and Biden's watch. Has anyone found out about that? And while I'm talking about that, let's also talk about Tara Rodis, okay? Because I almost forgot that I broke this news. You heard it here first. Last year sometime, this lady is a whistleblower, and she had a whole lot to say at the end of the day. This is a testimony by Tara Lee Rodis for the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration, Integrity, Security, and Enforcement. Now, this came out on April the 26th of 2003, the hearing titled The Biden Border Crisis Exploitation of Unaccompanied Alien Children will examine the unprecedented surge of unaccompanied alien children at the southwest border and how open border policies enable the exploitation of those children. Now, I'm sorry, but if you want to sit here and make excuses for Biden and Kagme's nefariousness, well, then you go right ahead. But I, for one, care about the children, not just in this country, but children from other countries as well, because children cannot defend themselves against predators. Children cannot speak up for themselves very often. And when children are taken advantage of and given into the hands of criminals who want to traffic them, well, there's no one to save them very often. And this all happened on Biden's watch. Here are the reports right here. Here's the paperwork. Okay, at the end of the day, I mean, are we just going to sit here and act like this didn't happen? Are we just going to skirt past all of this and sit here and foolishly try to defend Kagme's BS? The same lady who said, no, I'm not doing anything specifically for African-American people. Okay, I find it interesting that anybody that looks like me would be foolish and seriously obtuse enough to try to defend her because you can't. Okay, you absolutely can't. So sit down somewhere and don't ever try to come for me talking about I'm voting for Trump. If I were voting for Trump, that would be my prerogative and my business, and I would gladly tell you, okay, because there's no shame in the Queen's game. That's all I'm saying. So with that all being said, now let me see if I can pull up Tara's testimony. Lights up. Everyone, please like and share. Okay, let's get into it. Now, this is a GOP lawmaker going in about unaccompanied minors. And y'all need to pay attention to this, because when those poor children come over here, they've already had a life of strife and struggle, I would imagine. That's why they're trying to get here in the first place, okay? And I told you also last year, why were all of these children being taken, migrant children being taken from one side of the country to the other in the dark of night without guardians? Okay, what the hell was Biden and Kagme doing? You should be asking yourself. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Let's get into it.
Mr. Moore. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a week ago, the New York Times reported that the Biden administration has downplayed repeated signs that migrant children are being widely exploited. I would go on record today and say it doesn't sound like just the Biden administration based on what I'm hearing in here, but Ms. Rodis, you mentioned something, and it kind of triggered a response a while ago. You said these kids are being recruited in their home country. What do you mean by that?
So, and I'd be happy to submit for the record, we have children saying that there are radio advertisements in their hometowns. So in Huehuetenango, for example, in Guatemala, they're actually advertising on the radio, come with us. We'll give you passage. We'll give you passage to the United States. There's an example of a sponsor who currently is in Austin, Texas at this moment. He attempted to sponsor 4 children, 1 from the Pomona Fairplex Emergency Intake Site and 3 from the Pecos Emergency Intake Site, promising work to these children who were making $2.50 a day on the coffee farm he owns in Guatemala. So he lured them here. Now, fortunately, they were put into long-term care, but they are being lured here. Facebook ads and other things. Children are being lured here and then put to work here.
So it doesn't sound like they're fleeing as much as they're being baited to come here in a lot of ways, from what I'm hearing.
In many ways, they're not fleeing. In many ways, I mean, let's take El Salvador, for example. No one is fleeing from Nayib Bukele. He has a very safe society right now. Yes, maybe in times past, people were fleeing El Salvador from the gangs, but sadly, the gangs have now set up operation here, and we have evidence that there are many of them who are running the networks here who have the children. It's indisputable evidence that Department of Homeland Security has transnational criminal organizations on the TOC watch list, some of who got their fingerprints here in Washington, D.C. and neighboring areas are sponsoring the children. It's indisputable.
You mentioned too, debt bondage. What do you mean when you say debt bondage, and who does the money go to?
So the money goes to the trafficker who ultimately brings them here. The New York Times actually showed, I think, Hannah Dreyer did an amazing expose where she actually showed the debt page of the child, how much the child had to pay for food, how much the child had to pay for rent, all of those things.
So the administration is really, we're engaged in creating slavery. We are trafficking slaves to this country.
Absolutely. There is no doubt we have created.
Now, I want you to pay attention because the allegation that they're making is that Kamala Harris and Biden, their administration, was in the business of turning children into slaves. So do you think that someone who would do something so nefarious is going to give you reparations when your ancestors were the very thing that they are allegedly accused of turning people into in this point? Please pay attention.
A pull. And because this criminal element tragically views children as a commodity, they see us as the middleman because we're paying the flight directly to the end user, the trafficker.
I remember I was at
that.
Fort Bliss Emergency Intake Center. I mentioned this last week in a hearing, and I was there as they were shipping kids on buses all over the country. And I actually asked the admiral running the place, I said, are we doing background checks? We're sending these kids to Google addresses. And he's like, no, we're just building the bus as we drive it. And so they were just shipping children, American taxpayers, basically, we're trafficking children.
Yes.
And making the cartel wealthy in the process and creating a bunch of minors in bad situations.
Yes, yes, going back to 2014, which was astounding to me because I did not know when I deployed for this mission that one child had ever been trafficked through the program. So the horror when someone sent me the 2016 Senate report, I'm sitting there on the Pomona site seeing all these strange things and all these multiple sponsors at multiple addresses trying to collect these kids from multiple sites. And I read the report and I thought, which side am I on?
Right. Which side are you on?
Which side? Because we know about trafficking all the way back then, how teens were lured from Guatemala, put in slave labor conditions where they were held sometimes at gunpoint and their families were threatened to be killed.
So I've got about 45 seconds. Thank you for being a whistleblower. I guess they didn't treat you very nicely when you blew the whistle out.
No, they did not. They threatened me with investigation. They walked me off the emergency intake site and they took my badge. My agency, thankfully, I work for the Council of the Inspectors General. I'm not here in that capacity, but they actually offered to send agents to retrieve me, to escort me home because they were concerned for my safety. It's a terrible thing when you blow the whistle and to try to save children, and then you are retaliated against for trying to help. HHS did everything they could to keep all of this silent.
Let me ask one more question. You said these kids that they talk about, oh, we sending them to their moms and their dads. You're saying they hand them a piece of paper and tell them this is your mom and this is your dad. Is that what I gathered from the testimony?
Well, as they're making their journey, that happens, but then also the case managers who are not law enforcement, right? They're not investigative. They are receiving documents, photographs of documents on their WhatsApp phone. And there's a perfect example. A 20-plus-year-old man sponsored what we believed was his sister, who was only 16 years old. He submitted a birth certificate for himself and her as brother and sister. And then about 10 days after she's released, we see she's for sale on his WhatsApp page. You know, her shirt is buttoned down to her navel. She's all made up. The documents, there is no one at HHS vetting the children who is
That's where we need law
capable to
enforcement.
determine.
I'm out of time. Mr. Chairman, I yield back. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous.
Okay, so you all heard that, and that's on the Biden administration's watch, and that's Kabami included. Now, mind you, she was the one in charge of the borders, okay? She was the one supposedly in charge of the borders. Now, what say you about that? Okay, Kabami apologist. What do y'all have to say about that? Because if Biden is to blame, then so is she. All hell no said, where are the Kabami bootlicks in the chat? Exactly. Okay, Black Republican, where are you? Or Black Klansman? Better yet, where are you? I have several questions. And let me tell you all something, moderators. Do not block anyone unless I tell you to. Okay, moderators, you heard that. Do not block anyone unless I tell you to. I don't care if you think they're trolls. All right, because let the trolls come, because the queen has time today. All right, with that all being said, let me continue. Now, as I told you guys, this whole thing about her signing a bill for reparations is all lies and BS. And she answered that question from Al Sharpton with his bobblehead self. She answered it so quick. You can tell they rehearsed it. It was all a publicity stunt. And now the video that I showed you on yesterday, I could scarcely find it on TikTok because that one that I just showed with her and Al Sharpton keeps popping up. I guess it's gone viral because it was posted like 20 hours ago. Anybody who believes that is an idiot. Now, here's what she really thinks.
What specific actions do you plan to take to administer reparations for this unpaid labor?
Right. So I'm actually supporting a bill. There's a congresswoman by the name of Sheila Jackson Lee that has written this bill out of the House, which I am supporting, to study exactly what should be the response to your question. But to your point, and to just support your point, look, we had centuries of slavery in this country. We had decades of Jim Crow. We had legalized discrimination and segregation. And then we had de facto discrimination and segregation. And to believe or suggest that those years of treatment and abuse and violence and crimes did not have an impact is to overlook the facts of history. And for that reason, I support the legislation and what we need to do to think about specifically what it means in terms of the next steps. But I thank you for that question.
Senator, yes or no, do you support financial reparations?
I support that we study that. We should study it and see. But look,
Really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
Okay, I want you all to pay attention. All right. And here's the thing. I almost forgot to tell you this. So remember when Roland Swollen Martin, who tap dances for the Democrats, remember how he was saying that Tyrese didn't know what he was talking about and saying there was a lynching act and talking about the James Byrd and Matthew Shepard Act and all of that? Well, I did, in fact, show you the receipts on that. And that was not specifically for Black people. Okay, the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Act. And also, when he talked about the lynching or the fact that they weren't allowed to bomb churches back during civil rights. Okay, that don't have anything to do with what's going on today. But what I didn't show you was, and I forgot to pull this up, was the lynching act that was, in fact, HR 55 that was signed by Kabami in 2022. But let's go over it real quick. Let's go over what she said when she signed it. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. And also, when he said that Tyrese didn't know what he was talking about as it pertained to the Anti-Asian Hate Crime Act, he said it was named after Stupid 19, which it was. But it listed all of these people. It listed the U's. It listed the Asians, the AAPI groups. It listed the Latinas, and it listed the LGBTQ, and I think the natives maybe. But at the end of the day, it didn't list us. Okay, it didn't list us. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's talk about it. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this. And I'll read you what Kabami said on the day that she signed this. This is the only time that she probably made any sense as far as I'm concerned. Okay, if you all can see that. Remarks by Vice President Harris at the signing of H.R. 55, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. Okay, so I'm not going to read this whole thing, but she goes on to say, so lynching, well, we know it's a stain on the history of our nation. Since our founding, and in particular in the century following the Civil War, thousands of people in states across our nation were tortured and murdered by vigilantes. They were dragged from their homes. They had ropes wrapped around their necks. They were hanged, burned, drowned, and dismembered. Often, as the president said, as their families were forced to watch and as crowds gathered to spectate. These lynchings were motivated, of course, by racism and meant to cause terror. They were acts committed to secure political and social control, but they were not designated crimes by the federal government. Lynching was not considered a crime by the federal government. Legislation to make lynching a federal crime was first introduced in the United States Congress in the year 1900. It failed. In the 122 years since, anti-lynching legislation has been introduced to the United States Congress more than 200 times, advanced by leaders such as James Weldon Johnson of the NAACP, and of course, the phenomenal Ida B. Wells, those who courageously knew what had to be done and were undeterred. And when we speak of Ida B. Wells, let's understand the courageous nature of that incredible American who used her skill, her profession, her calling as a journalist, as President Biden noted, to help open the eyes of our nation to the terror of lynching, which speaks, of course, to the role that we have known also historically. I'm going off script for a moment. Now, this is Kabami speaking now. This is her speech about the importance of the Black press and the importance of making sure that we have the storytellers always in our community who we will support to tell the truth when no one else is willing to tell it. And so those heroes who petitioned every president from McKinley to Hoover to support federal legislation. Anti-lynching legislation was introduced in the wake of some of those most brutal attacks. After the murder of Mary Turner in 1819, after the murder of Emmett Till in 1955, and James Byrd Jr. in 1998, and James Craig Anderson in 2011. And it failed again and again and again and again. Anti-lynching legislation was reintroduced in the United States Congress by leaders who understood that our past must not and cannot be forgotten, that the truth must be spoken no matter how difficult it is to speak, and certainly no matter how difficult it is to hear. Leaders who understood that the victims of lynching and their families and all of our society deserve that we recognize the crimes of the injustice of what was occurring, and that the people of our nation deserve the protection of a federal anti-lynching law. Okay, now goes on to say, because I'm not going to read this whole thing, but the bottom line is what this did was it made lynching a federal hate crime. Okay? It made lynching a federal hate crime. So I want you all to pay attention, because at the end of the day, hold on. At the end of the day, it simply made lynching a federal hate crime. All right? It didn't offer us any sort of protections. You see, please pay attention. It just simply made lynching a federal hate crime. So if you get lynched, well, and they find out that you were lynched, then the person will be charged with the hate crime. That's how that goes. That's not protecting you. That's just saying this is the consequence they'll get. But here's the thing. Think about how many times, and we've seen and heard the stories, and I've reported on it a myriad of times, when Black people have been lynched in this country more recently, found hanging from trees. Like when the 2020 protests were going on for Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd. And George Floyd was even lynched, by the way, just not hung from a tree, but in a different manner. But when all of that was going on, let us not forget the young Black man found swinging from a tree across from the city hall in Palmdale, California. Let's not forget the other Black man who was found hanging from another tree about 50 miles from there. Okay, let us not forget about the Black man here in Atlanta who was found swinging from a tree a few years ago in Piedmont Park. Let us also not forget here in Atlanta, the 18-year-old college student found hanging from a bridge. Let us not forget also the Black woman found hanging from a Walmart by the throat. Let us also not forget that every time a Black person is found lynched, hanging from a tree, what do they say to us? Oh, there's no need to worry, people. This has no evidence of foul play. It appears that they did this to themselves. It appears that they did this to themselves. So you mean to tell me Black folk are just going around climbing up trees and hanging themselves? That's what they're doing? How are they doing this when in cases where their hands are tied behind their backs and their pants are pulled down to their ankles, which is a telltale sign of the Klan? Somebody needs to make it all make sense. Okay, so I'm sorry. I don't believe anything that Kabami says, and I still don't like her, and nor will I ever. Okay, and Biden either. All right, and I've expressed that a myriad of times. And I don't like Trump either, but I specifically don't like Kabami and Biden even worse. And the reason I don't like them, the reason I have more vitriol for them, shall I say, is because they're so fake. You see, they're the ones that sit there and smile in our faces and act like they just love Black folk. But we all heard that recorded audio of Biden talking down to the civil rights people that were sitting there in that meeting with him. We all heard the leaked audio. We all remember when he called us the word jigger with an N. He said it out loud in public and boldly did he do so. We remember when he said his children going to school with children who look like me is the equivalent of a racial jungle. We also remember when he said he likened the Black children to roaches. Okay? When he says they were in the pool with him and they were touching the hairs on his leg. We remember that, do we not? Okay, and so please, any Kabami supporters, you can miss me with it. I'm not saying you can't support Sabami in this chat, but don't try to come for me because I'm speaking the truth. Tell me when I tell a lie, okay? Because until then, I'll wait. But now here is another video that I want to share with you, and this is a video of the actor Lawrence Fishburne, okay, reading a letter from a slave to his owner. All right. Now, I'm going to play this just to remind you of the nefariousness that happened to our ancestors and how these people who did these nefarious things to them had the audacity to think that they could just get them to come back and be their slaves again, even after they were free. All right, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And if you're mad, you already know what to do.
To my old master. The letter. Dayton, Ohio, August 7th, 1865. To my old master, Colonel P.H. Anderson, Big Spring, Tennessee. Sir, I got your letter and was glad to find that you had not forgotten Jordan and that you wanted me to come back and live with you again, promising to do better for me than anyone else can. I have often felt uneasy about you. I thought the Yankees would have hung you before this. For harboring Rebs that they found at your house. I suppose they never heard about your going to Colonel Martin's to kill the Union soldier that was left by his company in their stable. Although you shot at me twice before I left you, I did not want to hear of your being hurt and am glad that you are still living. It would do me good to go back to dear old home again and see Miss Mary and Miss Martha, Alan, Esther, Green, and Lee. Give my love to them all and tell them I hope we will meet in the better world, if not in this. I would have gone back to see you all when I was working in the Nashville hospital, but one of the neighbors told me that Henry intended to shoot me if he ever got a chance. I want to know particularly what the good chance is you propose to give me. I am doing tolerably well here. I get $25 a month with victuals and clothing. Have a comfortable home for Mandy. The folks call her Mrs. Anderson. And the children, Millie, Jane, and Grundy, go to school and are learning well. The teacher says that Grundy has a head for a preacher. They go to Sunday school, and Mandy and me attend church regularly. We are kindly treated. Sometimes we overhear others saying, them colored people were slaves down in Tennessee. The children, they feel hurt when they hear such remarks, but I tell them, it was no disgrace in Tennessee to belong to Colonel Anderson. Many darkies would have been proud, as I used to be, to call you master. Now, if you will write and say what wages you will give me, I will better be able to decide whether it would be to my advantage to move back again. As to my freedom, which you say I can have, well, there's nothing to be gained on that score. As I got my free papers in 1864 from the Provost Marshal General of the Department of Nashville. Mandy says she would be afraid to go back without some proof that you were disposed to treat us kindly and justly. And we have concluded to test your sincerity by asking you to send us our wages for the time that we served you. This will make us forget and forgive old scores and rely on your justice and friendship in the future. I served you faithfully for 32 years and Mandy 20 years. At $25 a month for me, $2 a week for Mandy, our earnings would amount to $11,680. Add this, the interest for the time of our wages have been kept back, and deduct what you paid for our clothing and 3 doctor visits for me, pulling a tooth for Mandy, and the balance will show what we are in justice entitled to. Please send the money by Adams Express in care of V. Winters, Esquire, Dayton, Ohio. If you fail to pay us for our faithful labors in the past, we can have little faith in your promises in the future. We trust the good maker has opened your eyes to the wrongs which you and your fathers have done to me and my fathers in making us toil for you for generations without recompense. Here I draw my wages every Saturday night, but in Tennessee, there was never any payday for the Negroes any more than for the horses and cows. Surely there will be a day of reckoning for those who defraud the laborer of his hire. In answering this letter, please state if there would be any safety for my Millie and Jane, who are now grown up and both good-looking girls. You know how it was with poor Matilda and Catherine. I would rather stay here and starve and die if it came to that, than to have my girls brought to shame and violence by the wickedness of their young masters. You will also please state if there have been any schools open for the colored children in your neighborhood. The great desire of my life now is to give my children an education and have them form virtuous habits. Say howdy to George Carter and thank him for taking the pistol from you when you were shooting at me. Your old servant, Jordan Anderson.
I didn't get what all the laughter was about during certain parts of that because I didn't find it funny at the end of the day. All right. But so that was a very compelling letter. And so with that all being said, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now let's get back to Kabami because there was another immigrant. Hold on. Now we already know that Kabami swears these immigrants are not criminals. How many stories and reports have I done about them, in fact, being exactly that? And let's not forget the thugs, the gang members from Venezuela who've taken over Colorado and Chicago.
Investigators say he stabbed the 14-year-old girl in the hand while she was watching her brother's baseball game at the VFW field in Lowell. She's doing okay. We talked to the team's coach who witnessed it all.
And he just jumped on her and pushed her over, smashed her umbrella over, and then proceeded to pull out what I called like one of the, like a Bowie knife or like a big 16, 18-inch knife and just started swinging it on her.
That was another nefarious immigrant. Okay, please pay attention. Cosmos Hair Company said that letter is probably fake, just like the Willie Lynch letters. Well, here's the thing. The Willie Lynch letters were not fake. I don't know who told you that. Okay, that's where, in fact, we get the term lynching from. Okay, he was very real. And there absolutely was a whole plot to turn blacks against each other by the color of their skin. Okay. And foolishly, we still have some black people that still do it today. Some light skinned people are colorists and think that they look better than dark skinned people. All right. At the end of the day. Okay. And even if the letters are fake or were fake, well, the bottom line is America's history is real. Okay. America's nefarious history of the violence enacted, the genocidal things done, the tactics to bring down, oppress, subjugate, and just be plain wicked and brutal to people who look like me. It's very real, beloved. Okay, thank you. Now, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I told y'all I got time today. I got time today. All right, so let's get into it. Now, this man right here is going on a whole rant about Kabami. He's going to be cursing and all that. So prepare your ears. I didn't have time to edit this video, but he's going hard in the paint on Kabami. Okay, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. He's furious, and I don't blame him.
I am so sick of you cowards. Keep on talking about, well, she trying to protect reproductive rights and women's rights and this and that. What the fuck happened to all our rights when we had to fucking get a mandated vaccine? Oh, we couldn't work. Raise your hand if you lost your fucking job from not getting the fucking vaccine. Me. But you want to talk about somebody's fucking rights? They took them bitches right from under us. They told us we couldn't go to funerals, but we can go march up and down the motherfucking street long as we got BLM on. Make that shit make sense. All of you motherfucking Democrats that's following behind this bitch that ain't said shit yet, she literally ain't said shit worth voting for. She even did less. Then you motherfuckers keep on talking about she did the Anti-Lynching Act 4 months ago. 4 fucking months ago to get your vote so you can have something to talk about because it's nothing else. Then when you ask them what she did for the economy, first thing they say, the Anti-Inflation Act. She passed the Anti-Inflation Act. Do you feel uninflated? Huh? Do you feel uninflated? Because a fucking bill passed? No, you don't. I'm sick of y'all.
And clearly he's had enough, okay? And I didn't hear one lie detected, although he used some very colorful language, but I didn't hear one lie detected, okay? Please pay attention. Now, here's what RFK had to say about Kabami. Likes up, beloveds. And before I play RFK Jr., let's go and have a word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. All right, likes up.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so you can purchase your 12 Tribes hair oil on Etsy.com. Just go to Lisa Crafts and also on Walmart.com. All right, so let's get back into it, or shall I say black into it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
And our polling was showing that if I stayed in the race, Vice President Harris would win. and I did not want that outcome. I don't think I don't think that Vice President Harris is a worthy president of this country. I think we need to have a president who can give an interview, who can articulate a vision, who can put together an English sentence, who can articulate and defend her policies and her record, and who can engage in a debate and regular debates, unscripted appearances. Vice President Harris's speech at the convention made it very clear that she will continue the warfare state, that she is that she's bragging about how she sees warfare as a tool, as the frontline tool of American foreign policy. This is a catastrophe for our country. We've got to unravel the warfare.
You think
Okay, I want you all to pay attention. First of all, I'm not getting why he felt like him staying in the race was going to make her win. I don't know why he was thinking that. Is he saying that he was going to be taking away votes from Trump? Because I would have thought that he would have been rather taking away votes from her, because his family are Democrats, even though he was running as an independent. Okay, so I don't know where he got that idea from. Maybe he knows something I don't. That's all I'm saying. But what I do know is that I'm about to show more of Kabami's bullshit. Okay. This is from 2018. And I want you all to remember, Kamala is such a liar. All right. Just a liar who lies. Here we go. Likes up, everyone, like and share.
What measures to secure the border would you support? I mean, clearly there is a problem with foreign fentanyl as part of the opioid crisis, other things. There are people who've committed crimes who come across the border. What should we do to make the border stronger?
We should first of all, let's be clear that for many, many years, we had a net zero immigration issue. Mexico's economy was doing well. So a lot of this has been contrived, right, by this administration. Second, let's look at the responsibility that this agency has, the Department of Homeland Security. There are important parts of its mission, such as what it should be doing around border and customs and border patrol as it relates to invasive species. Let me tell you, I have a lot of farmers in my state. A lot of farmers in states throughout the country who are very worried about invasive species that cross the border. And if we're not doing the work of putting resources into the border around protecting fruits and vegetables and things that come across the border that might otherwise threaten our crops, we're going to have a problem. It's a problem for our economy. It's a problem for the stability of this country. I'd like to see them put the resources into that.
Okay, so you all heard it right there. She didn't want to do nothing about the border. She, in fact, said that Trump's administration, it was all contrived. Like they made it up, like they embellished, like they just inflated the numbers. Like there really weren't all these migrants just coming over here illegally crossing the border. Okay, I just want y'all to pay attention. So you think that's the person that's going to now secure our borders, that now claims that she's for building a wall, when she said that when Trump did it, it was all about vanity. Okay, this woman is lying. All right. Same woman who said she would absolutely ban fracking. Now all of a sudden she's for fracking. The same woman that said, no, I'm not going to do anything specifically for Black people or African Americans. No, but now she's going to sign a bill for us to get reparations if it comes across her desk. She said that, in my opinion, because she knows darn well they're studying reparations, or they're only going to claim to study reparations. Okay, like the video from yesterday. And at the end of the day, studying reparations, they're going to take years to do so. Like I told you all, it's a stall tactic. And at the end of the day, she'll likely be out of office if she ever gets in. So she won't have to sign any darn thing. Just all lies and BS. Okay, please don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. At the end of the day, some of our people are sadly still stuck on the Democrat plantation, as I keep saying, and some of them are not going to wake up ever. And I want you all to pay attention, beloveds, because there is about 5% of us who are awakened. 5% of us who see through the bullshit and the lies and the smoke and mirrors, and we don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. 5%. There's another 95%, or shall I say 94%, There's another 94% that believe the bullshit, that don't see past the smoke and mirrors, that don't see the truth, that are fooled by the lies and in fact believe the lies to be the real truth and think that we're all conspiracy theorists who don't know what we're talking about. And we're so desperately trying to wake them up, but it's only 5% of us, 94% of them. And then there's the 1% that doesn't want the 5% of us to wake up the 94%. Because can you imagine if we woke them all up? Can you imagine and fathom if 99% of us were awakened and knew the truth and called it out for what it was and stood up, backs firm, and did not fall for the BS and spoke out against it and absolutely refused to back down? What would the 1% do? What would the 1% do? Because they're playing games with our lives. Okay, they're taking away our rights, privileges, and freedoms. We already have no longer in this country freedom of speech. How do we have freedom of speech and freedom of the press when the police can arrest people for recording them? Now, they're not supposed to, but in some cases, if they want to, they'll threaten to lock you up for recording. I'm sorry, what about freedom of the press? Okay, you're supposed to be allowed to record someone in public. What about the fact that we can't say certain things on social media? We have to mince our words. We have to spell out things like sexual assault. We can't say that. We have to say grape or R wording instead of the other word. I just want you all to pay attention. Now, this all happened under the Biden administration. Let's not forget that Mark Zuckerberg just came out last week or so and admitted that Biden's administration had persuaded him to censor people. Okay, let's not forget how they were going in so hard on those of us who spoke against the venom. They have people on a whole disinformation dozen list. And anytime you say something about that venom or stupid 19, what do? They put a little blue note at the bottom of your video. Censorship is real. Depriving people of the right to speak the truth about things that they have opinions about, that they know facts about, or things that they have concern and issues about. It's absolutely going against our rights. Okay, so when you have someone like Kabami who sits here and tries to make us think that Donald Trump is the one that's going to snatch democracy away from us, well, I'm sorry, beloved Kabami, but you and Biden have already done that. Okay, the democracy has been gone. All right, freedoms have been taken. Okay, and let's not forget that they want to take your guns. Let's not forget that. So with that all being said, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you again for tuning in. Okay, I hope to see you all on the next broadcast on the backup channel. We have to talk about it because I have an update on the 99-year-old elder, or I won't call it an update, but I'll say I have more information on the 90-year-old man, the Navy veteran who lost his life in such a vicious way because some thug wanted to steal his car. And also a man was set on fire after a 40-year-old man after he was caught in bed with an 18-year-old. And also a police or ex-police officer raped his own daughter. And he's walking around on bail while the mother who reported this is in jail. Okay, so let's get into it on the next broadcast. So with that all been said, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And by the way, for those who follow the spiritual channel, I will be live on there today at 6:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got